why we are here? It's a good question to ask yourself and ask your colleagues. I will explain what we do a bit later. We do social network for doctors, and maybe I will start with just one number. It's we send over 1 million emails to doctors daily, so we know a bit about how to interact digital with doctors. But what happens here on this conference? Since 2012, it's the first year when we met Denise. She always asks us, guys, you do interesting thing, you have doctors, you understand how to sell it, you have business, you have a lot of pharmaceutical companies as customers and so on, but what about patients? What about doing something that will really help people to feel better? What about thinking about strategies that can help not only doctors to interact with pharma, but that could really help people live better lives? And we started thinking, we have a lot of doctors, so as a core we take doctors and try to understand how we can help by having doctors to the patients. And one of the directions we think is what is driving doctors' decisions. And when we think about it, we see several important points. One is, of course, education, something that doctors know about how to treat patients, which drugs to use, and how to help. One is, let's call it inspiration. It's a mood doctor work with patient, it's behavior, and if doctor wants to help or not. In Russia, it could be a big problem with small salaries and no motivation in doctors. You may see a lot of cases where doctors don't want to help at least. And one more thing is personal experience. Of course, personal experience in not only in medicine, in each sphere is very important. The more you work with something, the better you do it. The more you help patients, the better you know how to help. But there is one more thing which is very important in countries like Russia, where government spends very small amount of money to continuous medical education, and actually there is no well-spreaded, fresh information about how to treat patients. Most of Russian doctors unfortunately don't understand English, so sources like PubMed can't be read by them, so they don't use it at all. And we started thinking what we can do. Actually, there is one other part. If we talk about data, I think having a lot of doctors in our network, we can spread data pretty quickly. We started understanding how to get the data, how to understand what doctors can do, what can't do, what most doctors do now, and what mistakes are common for our country, and so on and so on. And we see that traditional way of data collection is getting data from insurance companies, getting data from surveys, from drug sales reports, and so on, has some minuses, as it's quite slow channel, it's quite expensive to get information this way, and this way is usually not very flexible. I mean, from sales reports you get data about, for Russia, for example, you don't get actually pharmacy sales reports. You get sales from tax authorities. I mean, you know how many drugs came to Russia, and it's really hard to understand what happens in different regions and what different doctors prescribe. So we have a lot of doctors. I mean, we have like each second doctor in Russia, more than 470,000 doctors at all. They come to our site every day. We have thousands and thousands of users. We have more than 1 million entries per month. We have like 50% of our doctors as monthly audience, which is pretty good for any social network, especially when you talk about doctors. We have like 100,000 posts and comments monthly, which makes us one of the most active doctors communities among all the world. One more important thing is this is our growth since 2012. The orange line is growth with PCs, and the blue line is growth with the mobile. So we understood that all new users we got since then mostly made by, because the orange line is the same for the last like 3 years. So the main growth we have is a growth made by mobile. So we decided, okay, we have doctors, we have problem, I understand it, and we have understanding that mobile is a future, or it's now. I mean, then we did the research. We tried to understand. It was a huge research with many questions. This is one important for us now. We did try to understand if doctors use mobile and electronic devices during the working hours and during the patient's visits. And we understood that most of the doctors we have in Russia are using during working hours, and huge amount use electronic devices while they work with patients. So we understood that there is important to try to find an idea how to get the information from the point where the doctor works with the patient. What we did mobile app which called Doctor Index. It's a first prescription monitoring mobile app, and this app provides us. It's provide access to all our doctors in our network. It's verified as well as in other professional networks to tell us what do they prescribe during the visit. So we have verified users, we have doctors who use mobile, and we have mobile app which allows in less than a minute provide us a report what kind of drug you doctor prescribed to the patient on each visit. So we started using this mobile app. We can do the research on any specialty. We can use any target. We can target to one city. We can target to whole Russia. We can target to Russia and CIS countries. It depends on what needs and what we need, what hypothesis we need to check now. But if we need something, we can get this information quickly. We open the report for the doctors. For example, we take cardiologists and ask what anticoagulant they are using now. We can do like 1 month of reporting, and we get several thousand or several dozens of thousands reports about prescriptions. And this is the data which was impossible to get in Russia that quickly, and which was impossible to get at all, actually. Why we do it? Of course, there is a business part. We can sell it to pharmaceutical companies because they have new amount of reports and new amount of marketing data. But on that other part, and going back to patients part, we can get information about where physicians has lacks of information, where they do mistakes. We can check the international treatment plans and check if our doctors in our country, in different regions, use the same way of treatment as it's common now in the whole world. And if not, we can quickly establish educational programs which might help doctors to quickly upgrade their knowledge. We have this e-detailing program. We started with it as a program for pharmaceutical companies. We provide data into our site. We get the doctors to read this data, and then we have usually a short quiz about the data he read. So it's kind of small, short educational program. It usually has one key message. It's not a like very long and something very hard, and usually doctors don't need to spend 1 hour to understand it. But if we have understanding that doctor needs this piece of information, and this piece of information can help people to do better, we can put it into the doctor's mind very quickly. So one of the things we work, I mean, it's not the only product we have, and we try to mix all the products in one. And we try to get the doctor's journey, which will mix together all the possible channels of getting information. And of course, in these channels, we will see continuous medical education, parts of it we do have, but we can improve it very well. We can improve it by getting feedback from doctors, if their knowledge is enough or not. And then we can go further. We can provide with educational online programs. We can go with data sharing between different physicians. and we can do many other things. I mean, digital and offline, because we can provide this data and we can share this information with pharmaceutical companies, and pharmaceutical companies in Russia are one of the main data spreaders, because they have field force which visit doctors, and doctors get information from them. So we can use, by having one channel, digital, and by opening information from digital to different stakeholders, we can provide more important data to doctors. For this scheme, when we do sales and we work with the pharmaceutical companies, we improve the scheme with e-detailing and e-representative, which is in the field force, but digital field force. And we can, of course, get the journey where we can connect our data about our users with client's CRM system. So the client will know what kind of data our doctors had read or didn't read. They can mix it with field force visits, and evolutionally at the end we can see how doctors' habits change. So we can see what kind of information we provide to doctor, and if it helps doctor to make right choices with the patients or not. This is what our product is about. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Yeah.
This is free, so let's start with the first.
Okay. So at the beginning, you started the presentation with talking about, Denise asked you, what about the patient? So I see at the very end of your presentation, you have the patient all the way at the very end. So how does the patient come in the beginning? How does the patient really participate in shared decision-making, true shared decision-making with the physician providing the clinical expertise and the patient providing the expertise in their symptoms, their symptom management, as well as their personal values and treatment preferences?
We think that each one has to do what he can. I mean, we know how to work with doctors. This is our only expertise, by the way. We are perfect, we are best in Russia, and probably one of the best among the world. And I understand that, first of all, we can start with the doctors, if we know how to work with them, because there are other people who know how to work with the patients, and they are good in that, and they help, they start moving from that. We start with thinking about patient, and then we moved all the way to make this program live. So this program doesn't involve quiz from patients, and we don't ask any questions to patients. And but in most cases, not in most cases, but when doctor is providing us data, there is fields to fill about what kind of conditions patient is facing now, and what kind of treatment doctor provides. So having only doctors, I believe it's only data we can gather now.
Okay, just to follow up, do you train doctors in how to do shared decision making with the patients, how to consider their patients' treatments and value preferences? Because what you're talking now is really the clinical side. These are patient symptoms, this is how we manage the symptoms, but the patient experience is different.
You said shared
decision-making.
Decisions. It's not shared decision-making. It's not about it. I mean, we do have part connected with it, but this product is not about it. This product is only about getting data, what kind of decisions doctors made. Then we can analyze it, and then we can provide it to doctors.
So it's really clinical education for doctors.
Most of all.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
You want a second?
I wonder what's the added value for the doctor to have the app and to give the information about the prescription. What's the business case for it, basically?
Yeah, actually, in Russia, for all research and studies, doctors are being paid.
Okay.
They do pay.
So you give them the app and then the chat?
Yeah, additional value comes with quite a long chain. It could be shortened to several months with us from several years without us, but I don't think they really feel it on the first step. Yes, please.
My question was related with this. I think I understood that it was about the benefits of the doctor for getting involved in the app or in the network. So I understand that you pay to the doctors to be involved?
Yeah, doctors get some money for that.
What do you mean by data sharing? What are you doing?
I've tried to explain. It's we can do many things to change doctors' minds. This is something we do with pharmaceutical companies a lot, but we can do it with education as well. It's kind of, I mean, psychology works the same way for doctors and non-doctors, and if you need someone to understand information, you need to put, we put some visual information to the side, like for example, banners and so on. So we do advertising of some ideas. We can advertise any idea. We can put important information like translations of PubMed articles, which explains how to work with the treatment of special diseases. And together with that, we can use our network, because people do share. I mean, what doctors come to DoctorAtWork for? They come to share their experiences. What is the core of DoctorAtWork? Is a news feed with clinical cases made by doctors. Mm-hmm. So they share thousands and thousands of clinical cases. So we can put into this feed the information they need from our point of view. We can get opinion leaders to the network to explain special things. We can put the articles on the first place. We can advertise them. We can get emails. We can get something like emails with the signatures, mm-hmm. which will explain short amount of information which is needed from our professional point of view now. Yes,
do you think doctors are selective in what they report? Because you would just report something you're 100% sure about, but be concerned in not reporting something you're just trying to try?
We think about it a lot. In each research process, you have a lot of problems. I mean, if you do research by field force, you face them as well. We try to, I mean, for doctor, it's anonymous. So the data comes into just database. So I don't feel like doctor can feel it's a kind of problem for him. On the second step, he gets same amount of money for each report. So if he does 10 reports and feels like don't feel 4 of them, he just lose something. I don't feel like it. And doctor has to verify each report to us. By doing photo, we have receipts still on papers in most cases in Russia, so he has to provide us the receipt. And we have part of the application which clears all the data about the patient. So we have proof to each report we have. In this case, we think like it's okay for doctor to send information. But yes, it's possible. And it's hard part to get to have doctors who will do it on a daily basis, all day, every day, within a month or even more. To have some. I mean, it's a very young product which is being developed, and if anyone has feedback on how to improve it, of course, we'll be happy to get it.
And do they know what happens to the data? Just a quick follow-up.
Say again, please.
Do they know what happens to the data or where it's going, or is that
in most cases, no. In most cases, no. But I've heard several questions about it, and it's a good idea to spread this information with the doctors. We will definitely try to explain.
One of the things that I see is that the flaw in the system is it's a two-part process. You have the process of actually managing your patient, and then you step aside and then you fill in this information. Why don't you consider making the data a byproduct of the treatment process? And that way you can be assured that the actual data that you're collecting is more likely to reflect the treatment decisions made.
Actually, in Russia it is illegal, so we don't have a choice here. In Russia, every doctor has to write by hand every prescription and so on. So we're like in 19th century. I'm sorry, like
In a few dozen years, yeah.
A few thousand.
Any more questions? No? Thank you very much.